Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. My name is Louis, and I'm joined today by Drew and Jay. Let me just make sure I'm using the correct microphone, otherwise I'll sound horrible. Drew, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's probably like one of 7 days it actually rains a year in LA. So I'm staying off the roads because no one knows how to drive in LA in the rain. But other than that, I'm looking forward to the week moving on by and Liverpool playing again.
Yeah, coming off the back of the international break, Jay. I know you weren't looking too forward to that. So are you excited? Are you refreshed and energized for this coming month?
Always, mate, yeah. One day closer to some proper football, I like to call it.
Yeah, I didn't even bother to watch the England game, but I've heard some bad things about it. It wasn't exactly high
It
quality
did wild me up
football.
that it was friendlies. I didn't realise they were friendlies at first. I thought it was Nations League or one of them fast tournaments, but yeah, friendlies, like stopping football for that.
Especially at this time of the year as well. Thank you to everybody who's just starting to come in. We'll give people a chance to get in and get acquainted with each other. Hello, Matthias. Hope you're doing well. I did want to start. Well, first of all, actually, Manscaped. Use the code in the video. Use the link in the video description. Code TR2020 for 20% off and free shipping on all orders there. That's out of the way. Good. And thank you as well to everybody or anybody who does watch this who also joined us for the Legends game watch along with James on Saturday. That was our most watched video ever. Over 50,000 people viewed it at some point or another, which is insane. So thank you very much if you were one of those. And also welcome to any new subscribers who do decide to actually stick around and watch some videos, because I know it's one thing subscribing, but it's one thing actually watching videos. But that's our job, to make it interesting enough for you. So first topic on the agenda, which I do want to talk about, is the World Cup qualifier, 2 legs between Egypt and Senegal. They played the first leg on Thursday or Friday, I can't remember now. But Egypt have come away 1-0 winners. Drew, you said you watched most of the game.
Yeah,
I did a watch along for it, and I think it was considering how bad most of the AFCON final was. I thought Egypt came out a lot brighter in this game and did look to actually try and create chances and score. And of course, they came away with a 1-0 win.
Yeah, I think I'm curious. I imagine that the playing at home was probably a huge factor in that for Egypt. They looked well structured, well organized, and after getting the own goal, but Mo Salah basically got that goal. After they did that, they kind of rode the game, and even though Senegal they had the better chances after that, it firmly looked in Egypt's control almost. It looked like they were dictating how they wanted the game to be played. And Senegal, they made some good combinations. They, had some good moments, but ultimately they failed in front of goal. So, 1-0 win to Egypt, and they can carry that into the second leg and potentially hold on for a very boring, 0-0 draw. But I was impressed with Egypt, and they handled the game well. They, couldn't have executed it better.
Yeah. Bear with me one moment. Yeah, I don't know if they were if it was a genuinely entertaining game or if it was just not as bad as the AFCON final. But although he didn't get his goal, Mo Salah played a massive part in it. He was accused of ghosting in the AFCON final. Mane obviously getting the winning penalty in that competition. But the other day, it seemed like it switched around a little bit. Jay, I know you didn't watch most of it, but after the AFCON final, and I don't know if it was us three who might have been discussing it, but someone was talking about whether it would be better or worse for Mane or Salah to win it in terms of confidence coming back into the latter part of the season. Considering Mane was part of that Senegal team, do you think that he did benefit from it in any way, or has it? I don't know.
I think since he's come back, he's looked a little bit more himself. A little bit sharper than earlier in the season. I've said on the podcast many a time, I still don't think he's I think he is a shadow of the player he was when we were chasing the Premier League and Champions League. But I do think he's been a little bit better since he's come back, to be honest.
And Drew, Salah turning up a little bit more. I mean, there's a few players who came back from injury, and I can't imagine how difficult it is to try and carry a national team by yourself, as he had to do, as it seemed in AFCON. But a few more reinforcements around him this time, and he looked a bit more brighter for it, as did the whole Egyptian team. Do you think they've got what it takes to? I'd say it's an upset if they manage to get past Senegal over 2 legs. Do you think they've got what it takes now with a 1-goal cushion?
I think they do. I think Trezeguet has been, the support up front that Salah needed. I saw that in the final, where Trezeguet, I don't believe started, but once he came on, Salah and him, he's a quality player and was able to work a little more. And there was a youngster too on the Egypt squad. I'm blanking on his name, but I don't think he was much older than 21, who looked pretty bright. But with the 1-0 goal heading over to Senegal, I was more worried about Senegal's lack of, killer instinct in front of net, and Mane included on that. There were some really bright moments. They got unlucky at times or didn't put the ball in the net. Egypt defended well, but I think I was in the chat with you on that game, and I couldn't believe that Mane decided to pass the ball when he was, beat 2 guys to get into a shooting opportunity like that. That worried me. Like, he had the confidence to take on some players, but still looks like he's a little goal shy. And I'm wondering, if Egypt can capitalize on that, defend well, and then, as you said, Salah has some support, or there's enough quality in the team to potentially hurt Senegal on the counter, and they really can dictate the second game if they set up well, they survive the opening minutes, because Senegal has to score, whereas Egypt can sit out and then just ride those counterattacks.
Just a reminder to everybody who is in the live chat, thank you for joining us on this Monday night. This is, of course, the chat room, which is by the listeners, for the listeners. So if you've got any questions at all, it doesn't have to be related to this game or anything we're discussing at present. Any questions, thoughts, opinions that you want to get out there, please do leave them in the live chat, and we will get around to it, and we will have a little discussion about it. So with that leg coming on Tuesday, and we will have a watch along for that with myself Tuesday night at 6 p.m. English time. Jay, we saw how resolutely this Egyptian side can defend, even in that leg, but especially in the final a few months ago. Considering they now have that 1-goal lead, do you expect them to pretty much park the bus in this second leg?
Yeah, I think that's their tactic in most games, to be honest, is try and keep it tight and hope to nick a goal either on a counter-attack or set piece. I won't lie, I don't like watching Egypt. I tried to during AFCON, obviously, because of Salah, but they're not very entertaining to watch. They always play low block, 10 men behind the ball, and hope that Salah can counter and do it all on his own, really. So it'll be a game that they expected, I imagine. Senegal need the goal, and Egypt's way of playing is to defend. So I imagine it's just going to be attack after attack for Senegal, and Egypt trying to hang on.
Yeah. Good evening, Hyla. Good evening, Anthony. Please do make sure you get any thoughts in the live comments. Hyla getting involved straight away. Senegal have the players, Egypt the organising and the team. Drew, I don't know if this is the case, because I think Senegal generally are a good team. Of course, they did win AFCON, but maybe he's got a point there. They've got the players, they've got more names that we recognise at least. But as shown by the resistance that Egypt have put up, hard work with a little bit of quality can, look to be a lot of quality that's maybe not working as hard. Do you think that's the case here, or has it been almost a little bit of an Atletico Madrid performance? Get a bit of a lucky goal. It was an own goal, and then just kind of hope for the best.
They also made it to the AFCONs a few years ago too, right? The finals, Senegal. Like this, it wasn't their, it's the first time they won, but they've advanced far in competition before, and they have like this golden generation of players that are pretty well known around Europe and around the world. But I don't know. They definitely. I don't know if it's organization so much. Like they seem to put together nice moves, but they're definitely the impetus was on them to attack. They're the better squad, and Egypt is set up well to defend against that. But Senegal had opportunities to score, they just didn't, and that's when you look at the final, same kind of situation when it went all the way to the wire, where it's like you'd expect Senegal to have more opportunities than they did with the quality of players that they have. So I don't know if that comes down to tactics and organization, but when I see chances like I did against Egypt and Senegal on the first leg, it just seemed like no one was putting the ball in the back of the net. They had the opportunities to do so, but kind of reminded me, not to the extent, but we've all watched Liverpool games where we've had 6-7 chances and then it ends up being like a 0-0 or a 1-1, and you're like, how did you not put away those one-on-ones? Or somebody put the ball in the back of the net in the scramble. And I know there weren't too many of those on the first leg, but there were enough to where I was like, Senegal only has to look at themselves for why they didn't get on the score sheet. So if all things start firing, like if Mane goes back to the player he was when 2019 Champions League, then I would be very excited to watch them play going forward. But if everyone's just looking to another person to get the ball in the back of the net, I don't see them advancing against Egypt, or if they do, getting far in the World Cup.
Matthias says it was Senegal's first AFCON win, having got to the final in 2017 and back in 2002 and failing to win. So, of course, a massive moment for them. But I don't know. I wish we had a Senegalese person on the channel. Maybe we could ask them, would it be better to qualify for... Well, I imagine it would, to qualify for the World Cup and, get knocked out in the round of 16 or whatever, or win the AFCON. I'm sure that's a pretty self-explanatory question. Hyla says Senegal on paper is 7.5. As a team in quality, a 7. Egypt on paper, 6 at best, but as a team, they are a 7. Guerrero's the tip of the scale. So, yeah, we did have a chat about him on the stream. I can't remember where he came from. He was part of a good setup from a previous club. I can't remember what. I'm sure Hyla will get back to me on that one. But Matthias says Sweden versus Poland is the more important one for me. So there are, of course, lots of World Cup qualifiers coming over this week. And Jay, it could be Lewandowski's last chance on the international stage. Has he got what it takes for one last hurrah and to get his side over the line and into the running?
They haven't got a bad squad, Poland, at all. Matty Cash is there as well, isn't he now? At right back. Matty Cash plays for Poland now as well. Yeah. Through his grandmother, I think it is, or through parents or a grandparent. Like Poland are a decent side, and when you've got a striker like Lewandowski up front, you've always got a chance. He only needs half a chance 9 times out of 10, and he'll put it away. So I think they can still get through. I don't fancy them to do anything if they get there, but they're capable of winning the game.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Drew. I'm just looking at Sweden's lineup from their previous game against the Czech Republic, which got them to this point, and a lot of impressive names. And I do think that on quality throughout the team, and in terms of having a spine, they might just edge it. They've got a Lindelof. Say what you like about him, he's still a decent centre back. Maybe looks better when he's not next to Harry Maguire. Forsberg, and then of course they've got Isaac up front, which is someone that we've talked about a lot on this channel. And
Forsberg's a good player.
Exactly, yeah. So again, Drew, maybe we can all get behind Matthias on this one. Maybe they do just have that little bit more depth in quality than the Poland side.
Yeah, I think their organization is really good too. It almost reminds me of what Hyler said about Egypt, like their levels bringing them above their actual talent. I think Sweden's actually got a decent side, and they're structurally organized and have a good team ethics, and they all play for each other. I think as much as it was entertaining to see Zlatan Ibrahimovic and the tournaments that he did make, I think the danger of having that one man to rely on is that you expect him to be the creation of everything going forward. And when you rely on that, it's it's kind of easy to defend that when you know what their only goal threat is. Whereas Sweden has some good players, and I'm a big fan of Forsberg. And having the Isak up front, like he's tall, he's good with the ball at his feet as well, so he offers multiple threats in the box. So good with the ball at his feet. Put that in quotes for a 6'3" guy. We'll take it, but he knows how to score, and they have multiple options. I think Olsen's another guy in midfield that I like, and they have a solid defense. So I'd be surprised if they don't beat Poland unless Lewandowski scores another hat trick in 30 seconds or something like that. I think they'll get through.
Well, we'll leave the internationals for a little bit. I'm sure some people might have some questions coming in later, but no one really likes the internationals, especially anyone associated with Liverpool, generally anyway. So, of course, back from the international break this Saturday, 12:30 p.m. kickoff. I believe that's on BT Sport against Watford, but you can watch it here as well on our live watch along. It's much better, I promise. You don't have Michael Owen on halftime punditry. Drew, sorry, Jay, I'll come to you first. I've said we've actually done quite well in a lot of these situations where we're coming back from either winning the Carabao Cup or coming back from internationals. When we came back from that Carabao Cup win, we had Norwich in the FA Cup, I believe. That was our first game. Now we've got Watford. Now, of course, by no means is any game easy, but it's decent opposition to come back from a break to, isn't it? Because a lot of players, if they weren't on internationals, they've been given a little bit of time off as well, I do believe. So perhaps a good time to get a bad performance out. Of course, we could, if we absolutely had to, we could draw this game, but we should have the quality to take all 3 points, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I'd be at Anfield as well. So I'd be bitterly disappointed if we didn't beat Watford at home. And it's like you say, if there is a game that you can be a little bit off, where there's a few tired legs, Watford are going to be one of the teams that you pick to play, really. Norwich being one of the others, or Leeds. The only flip side, I suppose, is that Watford won't have had too many players in international duty, so would have had a free week, if you will, so a bit refreshed. But I wouldn't have thought that should matter against us at home. Definitely not.
Yeah. Drew, I was about to ask something, but the question's just gone. I guess, what's your thoughts on this fixture? It should be, never take it for granted, but it should be 3 points in the back for us, shouldn't it?
Normally, I'd add the little asterisk of Watford fighting for their lives in relegation, but with all the elements like us playing at home, was it Roy Hodgson as their manager? I don't, we have good luck against him, or actually good form. I think was the last time we got 7 goals in, it was versus Palace. And we never really struggled after the banana skin that Palace used to be when Hodgson was, took in charge. So I like those factors going into the match. I'm much more confident than if it was, anything. If it was away, or if they stabbed Ranieri or something, like, Ranieri kind of fell off it after the Leicester season. But any sort of elements like that could have added question marks, I don't think there's many of those for this match. And at home, I fully expect us to at least get a comfortable win.
Jay, does the performance on Saturday matter that much? I know at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points, but in terms of the opposition we've got coming up, would you be hoping to see quite a strong performance from us, or are you really not that fussed at this point in the season?
In all honesty, mate, I don't care. I don't care how we score. If Ben Foster comes for a corner and throws it in his own net, sound, not bothered. I just want a fully fit squad for City. Least amount of running possible. No injuries. Yeah, I don't care how we beat them, mate. As long as we beat them and everyone's fresh for City, City's the one. Although, obviously, if we don't beat Watford, kind of makes that a bit pointless as well. Every game's as big as each other, but obviously you want a fully fresh squad for the City game and go with the best 11 that you can.
Yeah. Matthias says last time Hodgson gave LFC a hard time was when he was our manager. That's a good one. I like that.
We did a good job of it as well.
Lycosa, thank you for getting involved. Brings up Salah. I don't want to talk about Salah for too long because we've done lots and lots of content on him, especially at the start of this international break. But briefly, Jay, I will ask your thoughts on the situation. Lycosa says if Salah leaves, I think we have a reason to say FSG out. If that was the case, would you be on that boat?
No, I've done full circle. I'm not sure if I was on this with the other day. I was with Owen, and I can't remember. It might have been yourself, Louis. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I've done full circle. So initially, I was FSG ridiculous for not renewing it and whatever. But the way I've looked at it now, Salah's already on a substantial contract. Let's not mess about. He's already paid a very good wage. What he's been offered is obviously better than that. And he keeps coming out saying, oh, I want to play for Liverpool. I want to play for Liverpool. I want to stay. If you want to stay, sign the contract. Everyone keeps blaming his agent. At the end of the day, the agent doesn't sign the signature. Mo Salah signs the signature. If you're that bothered and you're that adamant that you want to stay at Liverpool, you're already on good money. You've obviously been offered a better deal, hence it's a new contract. Sign it. Everyone keeps blaming his agent and FSG. The decision ultimately falls with Mo Salah, no one else, no one. So I've never been FSG out, I've never been FSG in. They're just our owners, but I don't blame them for this, to be honest. I really don't. For me, it lies with Salah, no one else.
Hyla, thank you for getting involved as always. Says Liverpool against Watford. So the record: Liverpool have won 12 of the last 15 meetings, home and away in all competitions, and 15 of the last 19. So one of those ones that we didn't win was, of course, quite an infamous victory for Watford that ruined our potential invincible season. Or it was the first loss that then turned into quite a few after COVID, but that was the big one. When you look back to that squad, they did have, although they were struggling a little bit that season, they had a few more bits of quality players who could hit you on the break, players with a bit of pace, sometimes scary players. But Drew, I just don't see it this time. I think it would be horrific to even drop a point because I know we've got that draw that we've got that draw card that we can whip out and we're still in the title race and it's still in our hands. But I really don't want to be using it against the likes of Watford, do you?
No, you definitely don't. I think you hit the nail on the head. That Watford side was a much better side. And we were also on like the tail end. Like, I don't know if you two remember the game before that. It was against West Ham. I think West Ham took the lead in that game. And it was starting to come like that. We had a few performances where we were a bit leggy. We weren't hitting off the breaks and we had to claw it back. Eventually I think we beat like West Ham 3-1 or something. But they scored the first goal and it was going to look like one of those days. Turned out it was Watford the next time. Versus now, like, we're not leggy, we're not, on the decline or like a rough patch or, just petered out. We got the bit in our teeth and we're ready to go. So whereas Watford's that side that's petering out, like just looking for like a miracle to save their season, but they're not going to get it at Anfield. And the thing that gives me most confidence is just the amount of attacking options we had. Like back then we had, 3. That's it. And if they weren't firing,
if it's not working now, we can bring on 3-4 players.
Yeah. It's like I can't imagine being an opposition team being like, okay, we just did 60 minutes against, Salah, Mane, and Jota and Firmino. That's like, wait, they're throwing on Luis Diaz. Like, oh damn. Like completely, it's like, oh, they're throwing on Bobby Firmino. Jesus Christ! Like now we gotta face 2 wholly different threats. Like after that, like I wouldn't want to be any team facing or any defensive line facing Liverpool's front 5 now.
Just looking back well, our April in general. I don't have the exact fixture list in front of me, but it is massive. It's both legs of the quarterfinals against Benfica, which is either side of the Premier League game against Man City, which is a week before the FA Cup semi-final at Wembley against Man City. And after that is Man United, Everton, and Newcastle, I think. Jay, this must be one of the biggest months ever, or at least in recent history for this team. I know that there's massive games, there's massive periods in every season, especially when we were going for the title, going for the Champions League, etc. But considering the standards that we've now raised to ourselves, and there is a lot of talk of how many trophies we can win rather than which trophies, this month is absolutely humongous, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the reason it feels so big as well, actually, is because in the domestic cups, we've never really done anything under Klopp. Obviously, now we've got the semi-final, and the fact that City, who's the opposition, makes it that much bigger. If we were playing, you know, Burnley, Watford, Brighton, a mid-table team, it wouldn't be as big as a month, I don't think. The fact that you're playing City twice in a week, it makes it all that bit bigger. Then you throw in a Merseyside derby, you throw in playing United. They're the biggest games of our season, every season. United, Everton, and City, because obviously since the Klopp Guardiola era, that's been arguably our main rival, really. Always going for the league and knocking them out the Champions League. So yeah, it's a huge month, mate, and I'm trying to stay off the ale. So whoever's on that fixture list definitely did not want me to stay off the ale.
Yeah, Matthias sums it up. Every time that I see that list of fixtures or I think about it, I do feel physically ill a little bit.
Yeah.
Drew, just say we're sitting here May the 1st and we've picked up maximum points in the league. We're through to the final of the FA Cup, and well, no, if we beat Benfica, the first leg of the semi-final falls into April as well. So that could also be against Bayern or Valencia. Is that who they're playing?
No, Villarreal.
Villarreal.
Yeah.
That's it. So, Drew, how are you feeling about this? Talk to me.
I'm stoked. I'm the exact opposite. I'm looking forward to all of these matches, and I fully do expect us to take maximum points. Like, this is, for me, this is that moment as a player where I know the inside of the locker room is just buzzing. They're like, we get the opportunity to absolutely just smash this out of the park. And that's the energy I want from, like, I know they're going to have it. Like, you look at some guy like Trent. Like, Trent, for me, is the epitome of Liverpool at this moment. He's confident. He's cocky. He's just an amazing player. And you know he's in there just like, let's go, boys. Like, Man United at home, let's get 5-0. Let's make it double digits for the whole, you know. Like, City, like, I feel like all the pressure's on City at this moment. Like, we're chasing it. And I don't want to give that, like, I'd rather have us in the lead because I think we'd see it out. But City just don't look together. Like, who knows? They could run off and win every game for the rest of the season. But Sky Sports, all the other pundits have been saying that for like the past few weeks. And yet, you know, they drop points to Crystal Palace. They have the tougher matches. They have Atletico Madrid. They're going to have to show up at 100% every single game. And for them, it's like they have to keep that impotence going. We're chasing it. We're excited. We're like, let's do it. If we get through this month of April and win every game, it's an amazing setup for the rest of the season. City have to hold on to that. So I think and then Liverpool have the fresh legs. They've got the players like Luis Diaz. They have the options. City has kind of been riding on a few players having top performances. They don't have that lift from January transfers. They didn't get the luck of the draw. Like, I just see all the pieces falling into place for Liverpool, where it just seems like it could crumble for City. And that's the narrative that I have in my head for this April going forward. So, you know,
yeah,
from my mouth to God's ears, let's see it happen.
I like it.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I think we all do convince ourselves that there's something magical in this, and we're going to come out the other side and it's going to be a record-breaking, like instant legend cult status for this squad. But Jay, if we just try to take a step back, just a tiny little bit from our own fantasies and delusions, almost, I guess you could say, is it really on? Could we really do it like a triple or a quadruple? Is that there?
Yeah, I think it is, mate, and I think Klopp knows that because I think he's playing it down when he's asked about can you win the quadruple. He went, well, no one else has, because he doesn't want that pressure on the players. And I think Drew made a good point there. When I see City, I don't see a togetherness within the players. I feel like it's just a load of millionaires who are really good at football, go and play football. Whereas, for example, like they were happy to sell Bernardo Silva and Laporte at the beginning of the season. How? Like Laporte for me has been one of the best centre halves since City brought him in. Bernardo Silva, I can't stand him as a person, but he's a brilliant footballer, and he showed that again this season. At Liverpool, I don't see that. Like if next season you heard Liverpool were happy to let go of Matip, it'd be a big shock, and you feel like that is. Like I'm just using Matip as an example, comparing it to Laporte. Do you know what I mean? At Liverpool, I feel like there's a proper family togetherness and camaraderie amongst them. They want to win it for each other. Whereas at City, it's just, I don't know, there's just not that feel about it, mate. And we are mentality monsters. It's like Drew said, mate, I don't know, I feel like stars are aligning, and I'm not one of them who likes to just say, yeah, we're going to do it, because I don't want egg on my face. But yeah, there's just a certain feeling about this season. I'm convinced we're going to get one of the big two. Convinced that we're going to either get the league or the Champions League. Convinced of it.
Yeah. Do you think that getting Benfica in that draw, do you think that's maybe played a part in getting everyone more excited? Like if we'd have gotten a City or a Munich, of course, there's every possibility that we go through to the next round, but everyone's almost looked at Benfica as like, well, we should beat them. We should go through. That's almost, if everyone performs, that's almost a given result. Do you think that that's kind of contributed to the massive excitement that's coming across us now?
100%, mate. Yeah, because for example, I think if we'd have drawn City, I don't think there's any way anyone would think we're going to beat them in the league, beat them in the FA Cup, and beat them over two legs in the Champions League. For me, that's not realistic. So yeah, I think Benfica being drawn against them is huge. I think it would have been the same if it was Villarreal. I think we would have thought the same way, because there's big people you want to avoid, essentially City, Munich. Real Madrid don't really scare me, to be honest. And I don't like playing Chelsea just because I hate them. So the thought of losing to them is painful. So yeah, I think you're right, mate. Yeah, the fact we drew Benfica, I think, is what's got us got our appetite going.
Yeah, because of course, once you get to the semis, you're within touching distance of a major final, and anything can happen at that point. Drew Matty says, I think, and if I'm right, my heart will be in trouble. A draw versus City in the league, I'm assuming. Then they'll draw versus Villa on the final day. And in the Wolves game, which is our final fixture, Virgil van Dijk will get a late winner. I love the specificity of that. I've always thought of Wolves, as soon as I saw our fixture list right at the beginning of the season, I just thought, if we're up there, I don't like the idea of facing Wolves at the end of the season. And I think I've been proved right in that, because up against top of the table opposition, good evening, Jen, hope you're doing well, against top of the table opposition, Wolves have shown that they can be a very difficult side to break down, almost picking up a point against us. It was only Divock Origi magic that got us through that game. A few other games as well where they really, really frustrated top table teams. Do you look at that one with any uneasiness? Say if we were to draw that game versus City, which I would be happy, I'd be more than happy with, if we could come away from the Etihad with a draw. Does that final game worry you? I know we're talking a long way away, but hypothetically, if we're a game away from winning a title.
No, it doesn't. Like if you look at the last games of the season, I swear in the last 4 years, like when we were getting to where we are now, when we were climbing for that fourth place spot, it always came down to the last game of the season. Like
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure 2 years in a row we had to get a result on the last game of the season, and we did it like not just barely over the line. We like battered that team to burst through that final line. So if we're at that point where we need a win against Wolves to win the title, I fully back us to do that, and I fully back Steven Gerrard to just put a complete muckery on City, Atletico at United kind of status. But I think for me, it's like the City side. Like the thing with the Benfica match too is I think that just gives us more gas in the tank to get through the rest of the month. Where it's like this month for City is just maybe not just afterwards, but that period where Atletico, Liverpool, like how much gas are they going to have in the tank after that? And even Burnley coming up this weekend. I'm hoping like Sean Dyche, like just
5-0 Man City. I'm telling you.
I know you said
Man
that
City.
the other week, Louis, but if I just like I don't care how the result at the end of the game. Of course, I'll take any result possible for Burnley. But if they just make it just one of those games where City have to wait and wait and wait and wait, and it just truly grinding, grueling match. Just add that expenditure to them for the rest of the season. Have them go off that game into their Champions League game against Atletico, and then have their game against us after 2 frustrating matches. Like that's the kind of thing where I see Liverpool gaining momentum and just having all this gas in the tank to keep going, whereas City literally have to keep, each game is almost like a gas station for them. They need the result to fill up their tank, and any trip ups there are just going to drain them.
Yeah. I think we're getting quite excited in the live chat, which is always good to see. So I'll play along with it a little bit. Jen says we'll win and Stevie can do us a favour. I mean, again, hypothetical, Jay. It's the last day of the season, right? We're level on points. There's not much in it on goal difference. Let's say we're winning 1-0 for most of the Wolves match. It's 0-0 at Aston Villa, Man City. Let's say Man City are like, a goal ahead of us in goal difference. We're winning for most of the game, so it's level, but we'll be winning on points. And then 80th minute, Wolves equalise. Neto scores a goal, and suddenly it's 1-1. Man City are winning the league on goal difference. Steven Gerrard sends on Coutinho or something. He's not sure about his condition. He was giving him a bit of a rest. He sends him on in hope of picking up something from this game, and he sets up Matty Cash or something. Is that almost redemption for Steven Gerrard? Took us a while to get there, but that was my general point. If he could play some part in it, is that almost Steven Gerrard has finally done it with Liverpool?
Yeah, mate, I'd give him a medal on the back of it. No, it's an interesting point you've made there, because Coutinho loves a goal against City. I don't know if anyone remembers. He's got a really good record. And if we're going to dream, let's just put a scenario in place. Coutinho does come on for the last 10 minutes, scores an absolute peach in the 89th minute, lovely little curler that he likes. And then Connor Cody scores an own goal for Wolves because he used to play for us. So that would be the dream. Yeah. No, in all seriousness, when you're talking about the Wolves fixture, if they've got something to play for, that's a horrible game. What I'm hoping is, come that time, they're not in the top 4 or Europa League race. They're in that, obscurity 8th to 12th. It doesn't matter what.
Because I think they play Man City like a week or 2 before as well. So by that point, they could already be out of anything.
Exactly. So I think that's going to have a big part to play on it, because half of them will be on Thompson, book on holidays if they've got no European footy to play, which would again go in our favour. So hopefully they fall off a little bit before it comes to the end of the season. Other than that, though, I'd love that scenario to play out, mate. Cozy and Coutinho, or Danny Ings, whoever.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about football, is we could be coming out of April thinking, wow, we're in a really good position to win 3 more trophies to add to the League Cup. We could also, and I don't think many people have taken this into consideration, we could come out of April, May the 1st, and be thinking, well, that's our season done. We've been knocked out of the Champions League. Man City stuffed us at Wembley, and we drew too many games against Everton and Newcastle. That's the interesting thing. Swings and roundabouts, Drew. But if you had to give a modest prediction of trophies, I think you said we'd probably get one of the big two at least. What does your brain tell you, or your soul tell you?
I'd say if we get a foothold on the Premier League, like if we beat City, that will kind of take the majority of our focus. We didn't get to celebrate the Premier League title in front of fans, and I think that would be huge. So I think that would be the priority if we can get a foothold on that trophy. Like, this is trying to be pragmatic, because of course my answer would be like, I believe we'll win all four, or the remaining three. But I'd say Champions League could be the potential banana peel. Like if we get to a Bayern in a semifinal, or even if we get City in the final, I'd want to win no matter what. But if Real comes back, they could be the banana peel for both City and Chelsea. Who knows? But I don't know. I think that if we're going to get dumped out of the Champions League, it happened to Bayern. Like, I think we slipped up one game and, first leg, and they just, grinded out the second leg. It'd be something like that. But an FA Cup, I think that if we beat Man City at the Etihad, then that could potentially be a banana peel for the semifinal. City could really come out, like we want revenge, and then it could be one of those games that just doesn't fall our way. But I don't want to give that too much credence, because I do believe that like the fire can be lit for these players, and they steamroll April, and we're like all sitting here with just like boyish, stupid grins on our face. Like, can you believe that? Like, won every game in April.
What just happened? Yeah, that's the dream.
Just like just a bunch of children, just like dancing around happy.
I'll grow
like,
me back.
That's the narrative.
So of course, we will be live tomorrow for the AFCON, not the AFCON, the World Cup qualifier second leg between Egypt and Senegal. Egypt with a 1-0 lead going into that. And then Premier League, the football is back. The proper football is back against Watford on Saturday. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Hyla, just briefly mentioning the LFC Heroes Club. Yeah, we're fully in on the NFTs now. Still don't understand them at all. But I won't waste too much time about that. This isn't a Finance Bros YouTube channel. This is a Liverpool Football Club YouTube channel. We talk about the football and everything surrounding that. So thank you for joining me, Drew and Jay. Everybody who is a regular, everybody who is tuning in, we will mainly be going live at 7:30 nowadays, just fitting in that slot between some other content creators who we want to take viewers away from. So most of them go live a bit later in the evening. So we're going to start at 7:30 most days going forward now. So make sure that's in your calendar. Make sure you tick the bell notification to get told about that. Drew, Jay, thank you very much for joining me today. This has been the LFC Transfer Room, and we'll see you in the next video.